Anybody involved in the photography or videography industry probably knows the name Peter McKinnon. He has a huge social media presence. He's a huge influencer as well within the industry. But one thing we found out here at Dirt Tracks is that he's also a bit of a motorhead and off-road enthusiast. So he bought his first ATV thanks to a friend of his who gave him some advice. And he's also a fan of Dirt Tracks TV. So he reached out to us after he bought his ATV and asked us if he could come up and ride with us and basically have us show him what his ATV is capable of and what off-roading is all about.
How about that bug spray? I forgot bug spray. Who forgets bug spray? Going into the woods for the day. Me.
So when Peter rolled into the Dirt Tracks World Headquarters, he had with him Kirk, who is his videographer and editor, who works with him on a lot of his videos. And then he also had his friend Vito, who is basically the reason he got into riding off-road. When Peter was ready to buy his own ATV, he referenced Dirt Tracks TV videos to figure out which one he wanted, and then went with Vito to a dealer and bought an ATV that just so happens to be the same one Vito has. So
this is it, man. It's like brand new. I've rode it, I don't know, like once or twice. So I figured, who are a good group of guys that I can really put this thing to work with? Didn't take much of a Google to figure that out. It was Dirt Tracks, if you were wondering.
For our day ride with Peter, we wanted to take him out and show him some of our local trails, show him some technical stuff, some mud. Basically, I wanted to show him what his ATV is actually capable of.
Yeah, gonna get muddy.
But we also had a bunch of our crew from here at Dirt Tracks. We had Mike Lester, AJ Lester, Cody Martin, and Vern Putzer as well. So we had basically the whole Dirt Tracks crew ready to show Peter the best time that he's ever had off-road. From our head office here at Dirt Tracks, it can't be a mile and a half up the road to get to the start of the trail. And the trail that we ride out of here is extremely diverse. It's pretty rough. There's rocky sections, water crossings. There's quite a bit of mud, but it was gonna be the perfect trail to give Peter a full understanding of what it means to ATV, but also what he can do with his ATV. And I think, you know, right from the get-go, I got the impression like he wasn't 100% sure what an ATV could do. So AJ and I both kind of winked at each other like, let's show him exactly what his ATV can do. There's one particular spot on the trail that we were riding that's kind of famous actually for anyone who's watched Dirt Tracks. It's where we take a lot of our mud-specific vehicles and get them either very stuck or very buried. And I knew AJ wanted to go there with Peter. I knew that AJ wanted to take our Outlander 570 XMR and just get it right up to the fenders. And so that's exactly what we did. And I was standing on the sidelines with Peter watching while AJ just took it in to the snorkels. And I could just see Peter's eyes open wide like, this is awesome. We need to do this. However, he made the good decision, I'll say. It was a very smart decision not to take his ATV in the same hole. He didn't have quite enough equipment to make it through, but it was certainly fun watching him see live and in person what an ATV will chew through with very little effort. On our way to our trailside lunch stop, there's this cool sand pit, another kind of famous spot for anyone who watches Dirt Tracks, where we take a lot of our vehicles, performance vehicles, and get them sideways, throw some sand around. So we thought we'd take Peter there and just show him, what it's like to climb a sand wall and throw some sand sideways in a corner. And we had, of course, Cody and AJ jumping ATVs off the side of the sand pit. Right next to that spot is a pretty cool field woods track where we take sports side-by-sides. And so first I asked Vito if he wanted to jump in with me and the KRX and go for a tour around this woods course that we've got. And I really wanted to show him just how hard you can ride a side-by-side. Vito was so blown away. When he got out, he was just like speechless. And of course, Peter saw that and had to jump in immediately. When I took him around that course, we were full throttle sideways as fast as that KRX could possibly go. And he was hooting and hollering, had his hands up, and was having the time of his life. Probably the next video you see of us with him, he'll be driving a side-by-side, I think.
You try not to let off.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, not even
Right by the sand pit, there's this really cool water crossing, river crossing. It's a really beautiful spot. The water is deep, but not too deep, usually not too deep. So we took him down there and we were playing around in the water, having a blast. Peter was going through water that was deeper than he thought his ATV could handle. And then directly behind Peter, Cody thought he'd give him a perfect example of what water that's too deep looks like, and just buried his Polaris 570 right up to the handlebars.
Is it still running?
No.
And that gave us an opportunity to show Peter what it looks like when you got to drain the water out of an ATV. So this was like all-encompassing ride for Peter. He got every lesson you might need.
That's not good. Young lads are hard on good equipment. What you should do is blame it on somebody like Peter, because then your dad can't say anything. Just say, he asked to ride my bike. Well,
In Rome.
we killed one bike.
Is it done? Like it's...
So if a bike starts to get too deep and you recognize that it's coming up too high, best thing to do is just shut it off.
Shut it off?
Because then it won't suck the water right into the top of the cylinder head, like right on top of the piston.
Yeah.
But he said he didn't turn it off. He just
went down running.
Yeah, it went down running. So it's
Cody got on the phone with his dad, who promised not to kill him for burying the ATV, and he agreed to come pick it up with a trailer. So Cody hopped in with in one of the side-by-sides, and from the water crossing, we headed on to our lunch spot, which took us down a really fast section of road, and that was a lot of fun too, to get sideways and just have a good time. But we were all hungry at this point, so Vern had promised us epic trailside lunch with some sausages, and everybody was pretty excited at this point to see what Vern Putzer, the man who will eat anything, had brought along to feed us.
I think the first thing we'll do is wipe this lens off in the camera. Before I wipe you off too. We're from Ontario, and I was like, oh, brothers, they're from Canada. So obviously I reached out, and some years later,
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it's just soupy.
The lunch stop was a perfect opportunity to really get to know Peter and Kirk and Vito and find out who they are, where their passions lie, why they're passionate about the things they are passionate about, and get to know them a little bit on a personal level.
We got some cabbage with some apples. And then I made a nice little banana pepper and relish. And then we got, my daughter made some yesterday for us to eat for dessert.
wow, I mean, like,
So-
come on.
That's living.
I wonder when I should tell them I'm a vegan. I'm not. For the vlog. Thanks for making all this, man.
Oh, my pleasure.
Afterwards, you know, we just bombed it back to the office, and I think that by the time this trip ended, Peter had become an ATVer. He was an ATV owner before, but he's an ATVer now. And I mean, I'd like to say that we can take a little bit of credit for that. A lot of it goes to Vito and Peter's natural talent, but I think we had something to do with it.
So I've rode trails before, and so I thought, until I came today. Most of the stuff I've ridden is straight paths through the forest. It's pretty calm, like a Sunday afternoon chill drive. This was not that. So a special thanks to the guys at Dirt Tracks, bam, these guys right here, for hosting us today, taking us around, ripping us in all the cool toys. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad we're like neighbors. What? How did I not know this? This is the best. You won't be seeing the last of me.